Minister, you'll be aware of Pearse House. It's one of the largest flat complexes in the inner city. It's in my constituency. It's a fine area, but it's in dire need of refurbishment and retrofitting. I was wondering, could you tell me what are the plans in order to retrofit and refurbish Pearse House?
Minister.
The regular management and maintenance of local authority housing stock is a matter for each relevant local authority, and is a matter for each local authority in the first instance to maintain and improve their housing stock. Our department also supports local authorities to improve their social housing stock through a range of funding programmes, including energy retrofitting, regeneration and refurbishment works to vacant properties in order to return these to productive use as quickly as possible. Dublin City Council has a large stock of social housing, and in this regard I understand that it has completed a strategic development audit of its 220 apartment complexes in order to develop a programme of works that will feed into Dublin City Council's Capital Housing Apartment Complex Regeneration Programme 2020 to 2040. In terms of Pearse House, I understand that Dublin City Council are examining the options for improvement works, which includes a protected structure, and are engaged with local elected members to this end. Following this process, it is a matter for the Council to bring forward proposals for works and to apply for funding under relevant social housing programme, depending on the nature and scope of the works required. From our perspective, I am absolutely committed to delivering on the programme for government objectives, in particular to increase the social housing stock by more than 50,000, as outlined by my colleague, with an emphasis on new builds, and to progress a state-backed affordable house purchase scheme to promote home ownership. The Government has backed up these objectives in Budget 2021, with a €3.3 billion in total funding being made available for the delivery of housing programmes. The overall investment will see the social housing needs of over 28,500 households being met in 2021, and this includes 12,750 new social homes to be delivered through build, acquisition and leasing programmes. While we work to deliver these new homes, particularly social and affordable, working with local authorities and other delivery partners, it is also important that councils maintain and upgrade their existing stock. The budget includes funding for both these approaches, and will work with the City Council and other local authorities to that end.
Thanks very much, Minister. Minister, I don't know if you're aware of Pearse House. It's a remarkable flat complex in the inner city of Hanover Street, and between Pearse Street and Hanover Street there are 345 flats there. It was designed by Herbert Sims. It's a fantastic location, but it's in dire need of refurbishment and retrofitting. Great people live in Pearse House, but for the past 20 years they've had to put up with accommodation that is substandard. One of the significant problems in the flat complex is to do with dampness. There's significant dampness there, and that needs to be tackled through a major refurbishment project. I'm aware that Dublin City Council announced back in October that it was planning a major refurbishment and retrofit project for Pearse House. But I think it's very important, Minister, that your department gets behind it. I was concerned by what was stated by Dublin City Council at the time, because it indicated that it would take between 12 to 15 years in order to do the refurbishment work. That's far too long, Minister. Like, the problems in the houses down there need to be resolved immediately. Dampness in particular. It's unfair to ask people to live in those conditions when we've given a commitment that we can fix it. So we need to get on with it, Minister.
Thank you. Minister.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I just wholeheartedly agree, and I acknowledge too. You referenced the design by Dublin City architect Herbert Sims between 1936 and 38. I am familiar, and from a heritage perspective, I think they're important. These apartment complexes and flat complexes throughout the city are vitally important. And you quite rightly point out the issue of damp, and this is something that is a huge public health problem, an issue where it causes respiratory problems with families. So that is certainly something we hope to have addressed. It's also important to note the embodied energy in these buildings, and that in terms of a climate perspective, the greenest buildings that we have are the ones that are already built, and we want to ensure that these apartment complexes throughout the city, the over 220 apartment complexes under Dublin Corporation, Dublin City Council, need to be brought up to a high level of thermal comfort for families. So we do recognise the importance of achieving that standard.
Yeah, Minister, I know what you talk about, the heritage. Heritage is important, but obviously from the point of view of the residents of the flats, heritage is only of secondary importance. The problem with the flats is that they were built in the 1930s, and very many of them were built to a size that wouldn't be acceptable today. For instance, the one-bedroom apartments there are 37 to 39 square metres, compared with the current minimum standard of 45 square metres. Two bedrooms are 49 to 56 square metres, compared with the minimum standard now of 73 square metres. And 3-bedroom apartments are about 62 square metres compared with the minimum standard now, which is 90 square metres. Now, I've had the opportunity, I've spoken to Minister O'Brien about it. I know he's committed to seeing this work through, and in fairness to him, he's committed to having a meeting, and we will have that meeting in due course. But I think from the point of view of the residents in the flat complex, it's very important that the department sends out a message that the department is not going to let Dublin City Council let this drift on for 10 to 15 years. The people living in the flats need to see the work being done promptly. The dampness is a major issue. It's not just a societal issue, it's a health issue. And I'd ask you, Minister, to expedite it and to ensure the works are done.
Yeah, again, I think Minister O'Brien has committed to certainly meet with me. I think that to take up on that offer. And just to outline the works to Pierce House in the past 24 months, that all roofs were repaired in 2018. Blocks A and C had their roofs upgraded in March 2019. Stairwells repaired 2019. Drainage survey of the entire complex completed in 2018. 5 repairs to the network system. Upgrade of fire and domestic alarms. And ventilation units, which is the issue that you speak about in terms of dampness, has also taken place. So there are ongoing refurbishments, and these are part of a wider national regeneration programme that includes community development approaches of inclusion and tackling the causes of disadvantage in these communities. So it is part of a much broader and in-depth programme of national regeneration.